Hello everyone, welcome back to the coverage here at the Pokemon Trading Card Game Liverpool Regional Championships. I'm Freya Pierce, I'm here once again with Shea Burton, and we've had 4 rounds of action already. We're not quite ready to get into the 5th just yet, but I mean, what a day it's been so far.
Yeah, it's gone so quick. Got some big names on the stream. We had Stefan, Torb, we had Palkia doing well, Rahul as well even. Feels like a lot of Pokemon for only round 4, right?
Yeah, no, right. And also some surprises. We've seen multiple Palkias on stream as well, which definitely wouldn't have expected going into today, but showing that it's still like creeping around.
Yeah, creeping around. As I was walking around the table during my break, actually, I did see a fair amount of Palkia knocking about. So I'm not sure if like everyone's group chat is all aligned at some point, but everyone seems to be on the Palkia hype train. But at least on stream, it's been performing well.
Yes, and whilst we have some ways until we find out who's going to be finishing in that top, the coveted top 8 positions for Liverpool, we would like to take some time to go over the most recent top 8 in San Diego, just to talk about some of the players and the decks that did well there. So as we can see, it ended up being Vikavolt that took the whole thing, piloted by Gibson, Archer, Tang. Pretty much a very surprise kind of winner, I guess. Even though we have seen Vikavolt do well with some other like rogue builds over here in Europe, it's kind of, this card seems to have come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, it did. It had, 2 finals, I believe, right? No, it won Stuttgart, I believe, and then it was in the finals of another one before that. But yeah, finally, San Diego took it all home, and I'm not sure why Regilecki's there. That should probably be an Aerodactyl in that secondary slot. But yeah, the combination of item lock plus ability lock via Aerodactyl, good type coverage, can just, completely stop a summoning star before it can happen. Item lock also hits Lugia for weakness. Hitting for 100 and stopping items is just incredible, really.
Yeah, it is, and of course, it makes complete sense that it would have won against the Mew Genesect, that being the other deck in the finals, piloted by Nathan Ginsburg. If you can't use a Genesect to draw cards, then what are you going to do?
Yeah, and then you can also clog up Mew's hands dirty with all those items, because Mew can play like 40 plus items maybe, high 30s. Just completely lock them up. One thing I really like about this San Diego top 8 though, this was sort of the introducer for the Lost Box Rayquaza. That was where we first saw it there, Pablo Meza, and got Ryan Harris as well. They're both one in top 4, one in top 8 respectively. And Rayquaza really getting put on the map as being that big Oko option that Lost Box just didn't have before, and it really changes the deck.
Yeah, although to be fair, they weren't the first to pilot it. We did see Adam Hawkins pilot it at the Latin American International Championships first. So I think that was the first time we saw it, but this is the first time we saw it, really sort of make enough of a presence to have 2 spots in top 8.
Yeah, no, I think you are correct there. I apologize, Adam. I do apologize. And one thing I also want to draw attention to was number 5 there, Makani Tran with the Arceus. And the reason why it just says Arceus there is because Makani played a whole ton of stuff in their deck. They had like an Espeon VMAX, I believe. They had Aerodactyl. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they had a lot of stuff in there. And I guess it makes sense with Arceus though. You can start both for what you need when you need, and just have stuff for almost every matchup in format, and it worked for them.
It was the most toolboxy Arceus deck I think we've seen in a very, very long time. So yeah, definitely quite interesting to see that. Maybe someone will be playing that this weekend. Who knows? We've not seen it yet, but it's one of those decks that you could see someone picking up and running with, and maybe adapting the attackers to a slightly new metagame.
For sure. And then we did still see one Lugia down there as well, at number 7. I don't think Lugia's ever not going to be in the top 8.
No,
at least at this late in the format.
No, definitely not. And again, we already mentioned Lost Zone requires the box with Pablo Meza, but really cool to see, going straight from, casting LAIC, of course I was there with him as well, and, still one of the top players in the game, able to make top 8 at regional straight afterwards, both an impressive caster and an impressive player, the whole package.
Yeah, that whole sort of double whammy, double threat there. And at our number 3rd slot, we do have Arceus Gerald on the deck, which I think gets an unfair rap from the community. It might just be a case where you just slam Gerald on the active and say G-Max pulverization until you win, but you have to respect it. And you know what, actually, we've seen from the Lugia, we saw Tord playing cancelling clone. I've seen quite a lot of it walking around. We saw a lot of cancelling clones. I think a lot of players have actually realized, we can't just write off Duralon as a meme joke deck. If left unchecked, it will win games. And here we can see it was at number 1st slot there as well.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, of course, in 6th place, another deck that we talked about a little bit, how, it perhaps hasn't converted as much over here in Europe with the Reggie deck.
Yeah, Reggie's, it's an interesting one. We always see it knocking about, especially in North American events. It's always going to be there. It's a strong deck on paper, right? One prizes that can have a ton of HP, that can throw out big damage, can reuse gift energy. It's always going to be a threat, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it win top 8 here as well.
No, not at all. It's one of those decks that you just kind of have to watch out for, and you just can't treat as a meme anymore. I think that's been true for a while, to be fair.
Yeah, no,
but
for sure.
but it's one of those things where at first people thought, oh, it's just a fun single prize deck, and then it did well in Japan. It started doing well here, and people thinking, oh wait, oh no, we have to take this seriously now.
Yeah, exactly. I think at least when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is the sort of thing that you give someone at League when they first play. Oh, have this little joke, just have fun benching your Pokemon, and you start seeing it do well. I was like, maybe this is good. And then it got gift energy.
Yes.
Which then put it, in my opinion, added a next power level. Because I think Reggie's problem was always it would just operate on such a low hand size, because having to burn quick balls, rods, heavy balls even. And now you can just refill your hand before you even start your turn. Crazy addition.
Yeah, I think that was a big one, because the big thing it struggled with was a follow-up after getting knocked out, and Gift Energy just gave it that protection right, because it didn't matter if your hand size was low, you refill up to 7, chances are you're going to be able to hit that combination of recovery card plus search card to get yourself back rolling with the Ancient Wisdom again. Yeah,
which we saw Rahul do, right? When he had to try and get that Regieleki, did the rod plus, was it quick ball? I can't remember, but either way, he managed to get that Regieleki back. Wasn't fortunate enough to win, unfortunately.
No. But there's not much you can do against an Ice Cube block facing you constantly, to be fair.
Hitting that block face really irritates, especially if you don't play the boss's orders, so... Yeah, San Diego results really interesting. Would you be surprised to see any Vikavolt do well here?
Well, no, not really, because even though not a lot of people play it, it's proven on multiple occasions that when people do play it, it can go far. So yeah, if what makes it on top 8, I would be not surprised in the slightest.
Yeah, it's a super interesting one, because again, one of its partners, Aerodactyl, another card that I think the player base as a whole sort of immediately writ off and for, okay, it's an attack that is technically a path, which is good, but you have to give up a turn to do it. How effective can that really be? And turns out pretty effective.
Yeah, as it turns out, pretty strong. I mean, when you're locking off that many abilities, you always say, don't mind that, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you just stop summoning Star, I think is the big one, right?
Yeah.
Stopping that before it can happen. Stopping Starbirth as well, I guess. Stopping the Geneset V with the tool card, that little mini Starbirth, as it were, Forest Sealstone, and not too bad. And the attack's not too bad either, 240,
No.
Usable. Gets the job done, as it were.
Yeah, gets the job done. Now... So we've had 4 rounds of action already. We've seen, a very big mix of new faces and up-and-comers. We've seen a mix of up-and-comers and old stars, as it were. It seems that generally speaking, the trend has been for the up-and-comers to beat the stars, which has been quite something to see. Although some perhaps. Some UK players didn't help themselves, so perhaps a little bit with that.
No, you are correct. It seems to be, like I said, an interesting change of guard almost. I feel as if COVID really introduced so many players to the game. Like one person off the top of my head, Alberto Conti, really good player. Played other card games before, but during COVID decided to hop into Pokemon, and now him and his testing crew doing pretty well. So yeah, and it's just interesting to see now, like I said before round 1, these new faces look at the games in different ways and look at cards, and it all just gets really interesting. So.
Yeah, now I do believe we just got word that we are ready over to on the feature match table to see the players. So here we go with the next round. Oh no, sorry, keys to the matchup. So let's talk about some of the keys to the sort of most popular matchups of the format. So here we have a match we've already seen, and one that's very, very popular. That is, of course, the Lost Box against the Lugia matchup.
Yeah, and I feel as if you was watching when Dimitri Seaton was on stream, you saw how Lugia has now adapted to sort of tackle the Lost Box there, keeping up Prowess Trade, and then using Stoutland to take the last 2 prizes, always a strong strategy. Luminion's really good because you can use it to set up, and then you can Aqua Return it away, so you're getting the benefit without the drawback, as it were, and you can even use Collapse Stadium to remove damage. And one thing I think that should also be there as well is that if the Lugia players play Raikou, which was a bit unknown before, but now I think it's fairly common, the Raikou can really clean up. So, and including Lost Origins Snorlax as well.
Yeah, the key for the Lugia deck really is to, like I said, keep it the prize shaper in the way that, you want to make your deck as single prize of a deck as possible. Yeah. And Luminion, being an attacker that can send itself back into the deck, can, serve that utility by doing enough damage to KO one of their 1 prizes, but then, scurrying away to safety in the deck and stopping them from taking a return knockout for 2 prizes and sort of up trading you in that way.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you're 100% correct there. But going over to the Lost Box, it's not a lost cause by any means. If you pardon the pun there, that was unintentional. The Lost Box decks can play, Raikou and Rayquaza, both of which can offer a ton of tempo, upswinging into a Lugia, taking massive KOs. Also, if the Stoutland comes out too early from the Lugia, you can just respond with a Snorlax plus Choice Belt, and then at that point, Stoutland takes 2 prizes, you take 2 prizes. It's sort of been a bit even Stevens, as it were. And then if it's actually the Kyogre version, you can take some big KOs on benched Pokemon really well in the mid to late game as well.
Yeah, and also you can use Sableye to deal with Manaphy, so to enable that Kyogre play to happen, which is very important as well. So because Sableye placing damage counters instead of doing damage means that the Manaphy's ability won't block that. And also, we should perhaps mention, quite important, when we talk about Raikou here for the Lost Box, we're not talking about the amazing rare one that Lugia plays, but we're talking about the Raikou V, of course, that has the same attack as like the Suicune V did. It does 20 damage plus 20 more for each player's bench Pokemon, but yeah, if their bench is big enough, can very easily one-shot a Lugia.
Yeah, so it's going to be a super interesting game here. I've been intrigued to see, because not all Lugia lists have opted to sort of build their deck to beat Lost Box. You might not see the Snorlax in every list. You might not see Amazing Rare Raikou in every list. And if that's the case, I have to think the pendulum of power swings back into Lost Box's favour. Yeah,
you kind of have to think that. And again, with you kind of are reliant on like Stoutland in order to sort of keep up, right? Because if you don't have that, then eventually, no matter what you try, you will be out-traded on prizes.
So it looks like, I'm guessing, is that Paul Stringer?
Yeah, that is.
Is that Paul versus Jake? Actually?
It is. What a matchup we have here. So two of the UK star players here, Paul Stringer and Jake Wolvin here on the stream. These guys are going to be so great on stream. I cannot wait to see the stream match play out. I love this.
If you know your UK players or you're from the UK, I'm sure you know these two guys. Absolutely gems of the community. The nicest people, been playing a long time. Terrific players as well. I'm sure this is going to be a very entertaining game and a game with, high-level play. So I'm very excited to get this game here for you for sure.
Okay, so we're not quite sure that the list yet. We can see it will be, as we just talked about, it is going to be a Lost Box against Lugia V-Star matchup. But we're going to sort of pull up the list here for you guys so we have an idea of what kind of techs both of these players are actually going for. Because as we mentioned, that would be the key to the matchup here.
Yeah, so just bear with us, guys. We're trying to get the lists up here. So here we go. Just going to grab a pause here. And it's going to be really interesting. Let's have a look. Oh, it's a Rayquaza Lost Box.
Ooh,
okay. Which is really, I think that's the one that has the best shot at dealing with Lugias, I feel. Do you think Rayquaza is just the best way to play a Lost Box now?
I don't, objectively best, I'd struggle to, go that far. I think it's just one of those where it is obviously a very good option, and you're going to probably, have a good time if you end up playing it and running well with it, because your damage cap is just so high, right? So being able to, one-shot any threat is something you really, really, really cherish.
Wow, so I've just noticed some spice in Jake's list. I don't think I've ever seen this here before. There is an amazing rare Kyogre in Jake's deck. And anyone that plays GLC will be very well versed with this card. If you don't, I don't blame you for not knowing it. Let me tell you what it does. So for 4 energy, 1 water, 1 electric, 1 metal, 1 colorless, Amazing Surge, this attack does 80 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Every single one. So looking at Lost Box, Comfey has 70. Sableye has 80. That could be a lot of prizes there. Oh my goodness.
So I am so happy to see this because I've known both these players for a while. I know you do as well. But I know for a fact that Kyogre is actually Jake's favorite Pokemon. So
really?
There might have been a slight motivation there to put it in. But the fact that it also does 80 to everything in this matchup actually seems really legit as well.
And I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, I'm sure Paul Stringer and Jake are friends, but I don't know if Paul doesn't know Jake plays that amazing rare Kyogre and doesn't put down or prioritize Manaphy. That Kyogre can just win the game on its own. That is, you can take like 3 prizes in one turn, and there's no way Lost Box is coming back from that. So this, I'm very excited for this game, everyone.
Raikou 120 to the active, 120 to the bench. Nah 80 to everything.
There's also some extra little spice as well here from Jake, which could be really interesting in this matchup. And that is the Lost City.
Oh.
Not something you see in Lugia too often. Lugia doesn't actually play stadiums that often, but opted for the Lost City here, which means when you knock out your opponent's Pokemon, it actually goes to the Lost Zone instead of the discard pile. And it doesn't even say active, so you could Kyogre and just put so many things into the Lost Zone in one turn.
Goodness gracious.
My goodness. You can't see me now stream, but I am bouncing with excitement.
I can confirm. I can see the bouncing right here.
and Jake's going first as well. Here we go.
Yeah, so
right.
Jake going first, starting off with a capture energy, always like a great energy to open with, just lets you search through the deck, get a basic out and onto your bench, and well, we wanted to go for that Lugia straight away, I'm sure. You want to set up your summoning star as soon as you can.
And more interesting things to note, actually, it does play the wash energy. I guess that makes sense. You can attack with the Kyogre, but that actually means it will be immune from Sableye.
Yes, that's
as
very
well.
true.
So there's also a V guard here in Jake's list.
I mean, that won't be too relevant here. I think there's not a single V Pokemon in Paul's list.
You are correct. And I think looking at so now I'm trying to look at concessions here, chat. I'm trying to work out how have we fit all this stuff in, and it looks like there is no amazing rare Raikou, obviously. Only 2 copies of the V-Star, and one's actually prized right now for Jake. So he is only working off 1 Lugia V-Star for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's still fine, right? You have like a lot of means in the deck to search for it. So, and he hasn't, in trying to construct this list, he hasn't actually skimped out on any of the consistency. We see the full 4 Quick Ball, Ultra Ball, and Evolution Incense. So his consistency is still very strong.
100%. And I feel as if we've been gushing over Jake's deck. There's actually some spice over in Paul's as well.
There is,
ooh,
yes.
Careful there, Jake. Careful. Looking over at Paul's list, we do see a big Parasol. Interesting. 3 copies of Raihan. We also see a Cavern counter track. I think, is that the attack? Bear me while I load up. There is a Terrakion, a basic Pokemon with 130 HP. It was Cavern Tackle. So it's 120 damage. During your next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon. Okay, so there isn't any Pokemon that use Cavern Tackle. So it's just a fighting type that does 120 damage. So quite good hitting for weakness, I believe.
Yeah, it is. And it does protect itself for a turn, right? So that's the thing. So prevent all damage from attacks done to this Pokemon. So Terrakion can kind of protect itself for a turn, and then you can't use the attack 2 turns in a row. That's basically the way it works.
I thought it was saying if.
No.
Wow. Okay, that is really interesting. Actually, I thought it was only if one of your Pokemon use Cavern Tackle. Well, that's a crazy. Why is that not in here before? That seems quite good.
Yeah, that does seem quite good. Yeah.
120 and just stop. Okay. Anyway, so kicking over to Paul. Jake did get a Lugia down. Here we see that's going to be a fairly easy decision there. Quick Ball or VIP. Easy choice.
Yep.
And Paul is going to go off to races. Both players are 4-0. So both players are off to a terrific start so far as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Battle VIP pass going to set up Paul very nicely, grab him any 2 basics that he wants to see. Imagine probably going to go for, 1 Radiant Greninja, because definitely want to be discarding and drawing more in the early turns of the game. But then I imagine the second grab will probably just be a Comfey. Yeah,
no, for sure. Probably just another Comfey. Try and set up and get rolling. Let's look at prize cards, actually. Paul prized 1 Colrus, a Quick Ball, Mirage Gate, and Skate Rope. So nothing. I don't think anything too game defining there for Paul. Maybe the Stadium card, if you argue that the Lost City sticks around for too long, could get a little bit dicey.
Also, that is the only copy of Training Court that he plays,
exactly. So if Lost City comes down, Paul's Pokemon will get sent to the Lost Zone, which actually kind of helps him out in a way when you think about it, right?
It does, but if you've lost all your Comfeys in 1 turn, then that's going to be very, very sad times.
I mean, I wish I could know if Paul knows about the Kyogre, because you have to imagine, because even now, Manaphy could, you know what I mean? Yeah. You might get Manaphy out this turn at least, because, oh my goodness. Well, either way, we're not to know. And going over to Paul, starting off to get 4 cards in the Lost Zone already. Probably gonna. Ooh, that's interesting. I think. Would you go for Scoop Up Net on this power selecting, or?
It's a tough one, because if you maybe not, because I mean you could argue that if you do it, you can scoop up the active and then do another flower selecting, and has the Manaphy in hand already. Okay, so wasting no time with that, thinking I don't want to deal with any, even if it's not Kyogre, maybe you might think you have Amazing Rare Raikou, so you think just put that down straight away.
Yeah.
Not going to waste any time sort of not benching that.
Does Jake play a cancelling clone? Could you imagine the scenes? Boss Manaphy cancelling clone. He does not, though. He does not.
So I think it would have to be boss on the Manaphy to KO it, and then go for the Kyogre afterwards.
Yeah.
So we do see a Stoutland though. So
interesting.
Play passing over to Jake. Stoutland benched and a manual attachment of the powerful colourless energy. Does he have anything else to work with? There's the Lost City in hand as well.
Could you imagine if Jake goes for the powerful Fang on the Manaphy and then Amazing Rare Kroger's afterwards? Oh my goodness. Here we see a Marnie really backbreaking for these Lost Box decks, right?
Yes, it's especially given because the whole point is that you want to do flower setting a bunch of times, you want to build up your hand so that you have lots of options to work with, but Marnie just kind of resets all that straight away.
Oh, wait a minute. That hand does not look good for Jake. I do not think we're going to see a summoning star with this.
Wait, no, that's
there's
Ultra
an Ultra, sorry. But has he got Archeops in the discard?
Oh, no, I don't think he does.
I don't think he has.
No, you think you're right, because, of course, turn 1 he didn't do that much.
Yeah, look, there's only one Mon in the discard pile. Ooh, and this can where when you play against Lost Spot. Oh, that's a big Oranguru.
Oh, was a quick ball. Okay, so I mean, you can get one Archeops in the discard.
Could go for one. Would you go for one here? Do you think, Freya, or do you?
It's so tough. I mean, you Ultra Ball regardless, right? I think you have to get something, but it's whether you actually go for the summoning star this turn or not. It seems very, very dodgy.
Was that a pass?
I think it was,
a pass, yeah. So, interesting scenario. And let's not forget that Paul's Terrakion would actually Oko that Stoutland with weakness and make itself immune as well at the same time. So that could be an interesting little wrinkle for Paul there. Only playing one copy of Boss's Orders though, so it might not be able to be possible this turn. But something that you have to think about.
Yep, so concealed cards, discarding Lightning and drawing 2 cards, finding an escape rope and playing that. So now Jake has a bit of a decision here as to what he decides to bring up. Does decide to go for the Stoutland, recognizes that losing the Lugia at this point is, way, way too risky.
And that's the thing, like, like amazing where Quasar could come down. We've seen the energy that would elude him playing it. So, yeah, and I guess the Caving, when you think about it, the Snorlax was used to counter the Stoutland, right? Because you can take 2 prizes. And I guess the Terrakion does that and makes itself immune at the same time. So
yeah, it's a pretty solid, actually. It does make a lot of sense.
Is that the Boss's Orders there?
It is, yes.
So you have to keep hold of that, right? That's the only copy of Boss.
Yeah,
so you can't really afford to get rid of that.
No, that is also the only copy of Air Balloon, though. So it's.
Okay. Yeah. I think we've already seen. One net's been lost, and I think we've seen Paul use one as well. So might not have the most amount of copies of Scoop on it to work with either. Here we see another flower selecting Raihan or basic fighting. Opts to keep the basic fighting. Here we see a Scoop up net as well. And Cramorant just comes back in just to soften stuff up. I don't mind it.
Yeah, no, just another spit innocently is absolutely fine here. You're putting more damage onto the field. You're maybe setting up KOs for later with Sableye. It's absolutely fine here.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to see the spit innocently, 110, and then back over to Jake. What was the top deck there? Didn't see.
Oh, it looked like it was. I think it was a Minion V actually.
Oh, okay. Not a bad top deck in this scenario.
No.
Gets you moving, at least.
In fact, I'd say it's probably pretty solid. Yeah, it's a Luminion V. You can see it there. So now it's going to be almost certainly Ultra Ball for an Archeops, and then Quick Ball for something. Bench a Luminion, go for a bit of research, and try to find the second Archeops to discard out.
Yeah, I don't think Jake's out of this game by any means. The game's still very early on, but you have to imagine. Getting all this damage on some 2-prize Pokemon that aren't going anywhere must be very advantageous. Sableye can come in, try and get some cleanup on the Stoutland. The Oranguru can get hit by Sableye as well. Or even Moonlight Shuriken as well. That's also an option.
Yep. I mean, right now, the Sableye can come in and actually KO the Stoutland and the Oranguru, right? Because you just need one on the Oranguru, and then you still have more than enough left over to KO the Stoutland as well. So Stoutland has, what, 210, as I recall? Yeah, 210, and it's taking 110, so only needs like an extra 100 on it to get KO'd.
Yeah, so Sableye, proving could be the way to go here for Paul. You got 7 in the loss zone, so only a flower selecting plus Chorus away from getting that 10 in the loss zone that Sableye would need for that Lost Mine activation. As we see a research get taken there off the Luminous Sign. And let's see what Jake draws into here. Could be really important this turn.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 needs an Archeops and a discard out. Does he find it? I see a Quick Ball, but is there an Archeops as well?
I don't see an Archeops, no. I don't even know if I see a Lugia there.
Oh yeah, because of course he needs Lugia V-Star as well. Oh no.
Wow.
That's really, really unfortunate draw for Jake.
Now, if this was you, Freya, and you don't have the Lugia now, do you concede?
I think about it for sure.
Yeah.
There was
an Archeops.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if there was a Lugia though.
Yeah, that's the key thing. Because he's grabbing another Luminion. If there's no Lugia this turn, I'm definitely considering conceding. It's not really ideal position to be in because you want to do your summoning star as early as possible, and that's evidently not happening right now.
No, exactly. And does Stoutland have any? No, it doesn't have any other attacks, does it? So
no.
It could go for the DT double tip fangs, I guess, but. We see attachment.
There's a wash energy.
The wash on there. There's definitely not a Lugia there, is there?
No,
and
no.
a pass. Oh my goodness.
That is rough. So
it's not what you want to see when you're 4-0.
No, you're basically just you're giving the Lost Box player too many turns at this point. You know, it's just these spit instantly. It's only 110 each time, but if you're not putting any offensive pressure back, it all adds up and it can spiral out of control very quickly.
No, exactly that. The problem is with Lost Box, you want to take at least a prize every turn, hopefully as early as turn 2, because you have to keep the pressure on. Because for you to win, most of the time you need to attack 6 times, unless you are going to get crazy with Raikals or amazing rare Kyogre. So you can't really afford to not be taking prizes in these early turns. And hopefully we get that rectified. Okay, it's fairly simple. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So yeah, and then you have to start thinking about as well just length of games, Lost Box games, just because you're taking 6 prizes the old-fashioned way. There's a lot of flower selectings and Colress decisions. You know, it's normally quite hard to win 2 games against Lost Box if you lose game 1. So all things to think about.
Yeah, so Paul does have the Rayquaza in hand actually. Going to go for the concealed cards first. Discards a fighting, draws another one, and then a Comfey to go with it. Do you bench a Rayquaza now? It looks like he's thinking about it, benching it just with the Lightning Engine. Yeah, does in fact go for it.
Yeah.
I guess he wants to set himself up so to make sure that he can eventually attack with it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. So, you know, if that Lugia does come there, you want to just immediately just remove it, keep the pressure on. You know, Stoutland's already gone, which outside of Kyogre was sort of Jake's main way of trying to uptrade and get multiple prizes here. So, I mean, Paul isn't to know he doesn't play Raikou or anything like this, but I think it's good just have that Rayquaza set up.
Yeah, the fact that now Paul's been able to spit innocently twice and actually just take essentially like a free KO on Stoutland, like you said, which is like the main thing. One of the main things you're worried about if you're playing against Lugia is really not great news for Jake, as he now has to try to find a way back somehow. I mean, it has to be a Marnie here, right? Yeah, that's got to be the first thing you grab. Paul's hand is way too big right now.
Yeah.
Oh wait, oh no, that was his discard pile. Okay, but you still want a Marnie here, no doubt.
Yeah, you don't want to give Paul as many options. I mean, that hand is dead anyway. You can't really afford to go to 2 powerfuls. And here we see the Marnie. I think this is last chance saloon here for Jake, though. This Marnie needs to be, you know, good.
Well, you just needs Lugia V-Star, right? That's the main thing he's missing right now.
Yeah, he's done fairly well at avoiding it. But maybe this could be the concessions to when you play. What do we see? I think there's an Ultra Ball. Yeah, we see an Ultra Ball.
Is that an Ultra Ball there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Second card, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So, going to be able to find the Ultra Ball.
But then even if you do get Ultra Ball, I'm not 100% sure as to what how are you coming back? Maybe try and KO the Manaphy. Maybe Amazing Rare Kyogre is the win con. I'm not 100% sure how many Auroras have been used, actually. There's one. I saw one in deck.
I think the Auroras, they haven't been used as many. I think it's more like Powerful Colossus and a few of the other ones that have been used. There is also there's a Wash Energy on the Luminion that can be sent back to the deck with an Aqua Return, which I think is probably what Jake's going to attack with this turn.
So I guess Jake's not out of it, but I think it's definitely a little bit of an uphill struggle. But like we said, we know Jake, terrific player, been playing for a long time. If there's anyone that can navigate their way back to a victory here, I think Jake's high up on that list for me.
Yeah, it is. So Primal Turbo, the Summoning Star brings out the 2 Archeopses. Primal Turbo is going to be coming in now as Jake is going to attach 2, it looks like a Capture Energy and a V-Guard Energy from the deck. Or no, actually going to go for a Roar and Capture. I mean, they're all going to go back as the deck anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. Now, it will be interesting to see if Jake does decide to go for the second one as well, just try to preemptively power something up, or whether he just decides to hold fire for now and wait until the next turn. No, he does go for the second Primal Turbo. Maybe considering powering up that Lugia V-Star just so he has something like tanky to attack with, but then you could be at risk from the Amazing Rare Rayquaza. Yeah,
and like I said, the V-Guard doesn't work on... Okay, going on the Luminion. Okay, because I said the V-Guard doesn't work on Amazing Rare Rayquaza. It's not really doing a lot there. Very good card, that V-Guard. Don't see it too often, but -30 is always a good multiplier.
It's especially helpful against Mew, right? Because it kind of means that they need another damage modifier in order to KO you. So I think that's like one of the places where it's most relevant, as well as the mirror match.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I have experimented with it a little bit in Mew myself, in a Fusion Mew. Not too bad, not too bad. But over to Paul now. Let's see what Paul can manufacture. Now it has a bench spot open, so you know, this could be a turn where you see another attack come down. You have to imagine, I guess the boss got put back to the bottom, actually. But we do see a Raihan there, actually. So we could see a Raihan play.
Yeah, yes, we could.
We also see a Colress, though. 2 Colresses in hand. Don't turn for a Flower Select him.
And, was that Mirage Gate Grass Energy?
It was. Has there grass at the bin already? I don't think there has.
No, there hasn't been.
He hasn't prized one, so Oh, okay.
Okay, does decide to, go for the grass energy. I guess you can attach it from hand, right?
Attach from hand and Raihan if you want to attack with the Rayquaza this turn.
Yeah. Although, I don't think you want to attack with the Rayquaza this turn
No.
because I mean, what you're doing, you're using it to KO an Oranguru. And you have to discard all the energy to do it. That seems like a little. That's not the most efficient use of energy resources, to say the least.
So maybe he's gonna Raihan to. He's going to be Raihan to active, so you can get out the active, so you can maybe bench the Cramorant and attack with that.
Possibly. No, actually going to be to the
Manaphy.
Manaphy. Okay.
Maybe this one's like a switch card then, or a switching card. I'm confused as you are, guys.
Yeah, it's
a switch card. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. But are we going to be seeing I think it's called Rain Splash? Just 20 damage for 1 water energy from the Manaphy.
Surely not, right?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I think.
Then you put the Manaphy in the firing line. No, we are. We're going to see a Rain Splash on stream, everyone.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's get some hype for little old Manaphy saying, I'm not just here to chill on the bench. I'm here to take prizes now as well. Let's go.
Well, I mean, it does actually. Okay, thinking about it, it does kind of make sense, right? It's just you only need to do like 10 more. Rain Splash is 20. You're like, why not, right?
Oh, exactly, right.
Oh goodness.
I mean, Stoutland's gone now, so there's not going to be any crazy shenanigans. Funnily enough, Manaphy still works in the active, so if a Raikou was to come down, that's still only taking 1 prize. So.
Yep. Although, like you said, Paul doesn't notice, but this actually opens a huge door for Jake.
It does. It really does. Jake's. I think I can tell. I know Jake. His eyes are widening a little bit here. Like if that Manaphy doesn't immediately come straight back. I mean, how many prizes are open? Oh, it's only 2 prizes at the minute, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. So Serena going to be used to discard and draw here. Of course, not going to be bringing up any Pokemon in this matchup. So going to just discard that Archeops and draw 4. It looks like keeping 1 card in hand. Yep, seems pretty good to me. It runs into a couple more Evolution Incense. Don't need those anymore.
No. Yep, play it, get it out the hand. Where's the? There it is. There's the I'm bouncing again. It could be happening.
I hope we see this so much.
That amazing surge. And actually thinking about it, I think it actually got banned in GLC. I mentioned at the start of a GLC play. I think it got banned.
Yeah. I think it was considered too strong. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I mean, 80 to everything is obscene, right?
It really is.
Obscene. It looks like, you do have to shuffle your deck afterwards, Jake. Yeah, even if you don't look, you have to shuffle. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, Treatsy, Paul, how big is Paul's hand? There is no ordinary rod yet, but it does have double Colress to go find it. He does play 2 copies of Rod and 4 copies of Quick Ball. So this actually, is that something you see in Lost Box lists? Lost Box list is 4 Quick Ball. Is that?
No, I wouldn't. Maybe for this variant. I mean, it depends on what kind of version of it you're playing. I guess in this one, because there's a lot of specific basics you want to search out, then I guess you play the 4 Quick Ball. But normally you just rely on the VIP pass early on. But the important thing for Paul to find here is going to be that ordinary rod, because he just needs to get back that Manaphy as soon as possible. And if he doesn't find that, it's going to be a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, but I think Paul isn't to know. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't be playing around Amazing Rare Kyogre if I was Paul either. So anything can happen. So over to Paul. Isn't to know about an array. If we see the Rayquaza hit the actors, we see a VIP. Here we see the Colress. This could be really important, actually.
We see 5 cards there. I don't see.
Oh, this could be happening.
This could be happening. Okay, yeah. So no ordinary rod. I mean, don't forget, Jake still needs to set it up, right? He needs to make sure that he actually has enough Aurora energy left to do this. I think he does, from what I've seen, because we saw him attached to with the Primal Turbo there, right? So I think he does have enough to do it. But it's still going to be amazing to see him pull it off.
I would be... I'd have hype over the moon if we saw Amazing Surge on stream. That would be amazing.
Yes.
As it were, if you pardon the pun again, I'm not doing it on purpose, stream.
Are you sure?
I promise I'm not. I'm not that clever.
Okay, so...
Oh, looks like we're seeing... Oh, he wants to pick up the Terrakion. Yeah, that's it. You know what? I'm actually stunned that Terrakion makes itself... I thought you had to do another cavern counter first. That's actually insane. I'm surprised that card hasn't seen play,
And maybe it's just that the energy cost to the damage ratio is just not seen as worth it, but I think there's definitely merit to it, and that's being borne out here, as it were. So, okay, Training Court gets back the fighting energy, can attach that to the to the Rayquaza, and that will be enough to KO the Charizard, as we do see a lot of concealed cards as well.
A fighting energy. I think I saw a trainer, but I couldn't tell you which one it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is you don't have Paul has like no way of searching right now, even if he drew into an ordinary rod. But yeah, there is an escape rope there.
It's got to be. Surely it's a Lugia. Oh my goodness! I guess Paul has to get this Comfey back out the active though. Let's see.
There is another escape rope in Paul's hand, but I don't know if there's a switch card.
Okay. Escape ropes, and then you go back into the Charizard. Yeah.
I mean that's actually really nice, really important for Jake because
it is.
It means that actually, because were it not for that, Jake would have lost one of the Archeopses, and then
you would have shut the door on the Kyogre play. So here we go. This could be the turn, everybody. Lost City, good start. Oh, that would be quite big actually.
Yeah, that actually adds even more to it. There's research in hand, and just gonna go for it.
Just got to be careful not to draw into too many Auroras here, though, because that could stop this player in its tracks. But here we go, 7 cards. Oh, let me see what you got. I see oh no, that is no. I feel robbed right now.
What's that? 5 energy?
Yeah, I think it is. The wash, 3 powerfuls and
Good
Aurora.
grief.
Oh, not like this. I could cry. I could cry right now.
That's actually outrageous.
No, it is, and I'm trying to think now. Paul's on 2 prizes left. I mean, let's start thinking about positives. Paul doesn't know about the Kyogre at this point. Maybe it could be a factor in game 2, but as it stands now, this is looking rough.
Yeah, that's really not ideal at all, and especially because you're attacking with the Archeops now, so you probably lose one of them because Paul's going to sort of bring something up that's going to be able to KO it. Not really great.
No, exactly. That is sad. That is. Oh, I think that would have been the turn to Kyogre. I feel right. That would have been the turn, right?
Yes, but it's. Sadly, I don't think that's going to be on the cards. No, I'm doing it.
Hey, now you're doing the puns as well.
All right.
What? Trying to work out what energy is on that Archeops.
It's a double turbo and then something else.
Is it a powerful?
It might be a powerful. Yeah,
it has to be a powerful to actually get the KO
although
it
is currently Paul's turn, so kind of need to sort of focus over on his side to see what he's going for. As
I mean, we get to look at Jake's discard pile. What is Paul doing? Let's have a look.
Yes.
Well, maybe we can try and guess what's going on.
Well, he's going for some. He's looking at some cards. I can tell. Like he's looking for his hand.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully we can get a look at Paul's side of the board sometime soon. There we go. All of a sudden, all right. So, 2 more cards have hit the lost zone. Snorlax is in the active. Wait, is there? I'm guessing, I know it is a powerful energy on the Archeops.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paul's going to go down to 1 prize card now. I'm struggling to see a win con here for Jake at 3 prize cards left. What can we manufacture here, Freya? What's Jake's ways back in this game?
I guess you just bring up the Lugia and hope you can take 3 prizes in a row of it as just something beefy.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of that's what I'm sort of thinking right now. Although there's the other Rayquaza going down, which kind of maybe sort of nips that idea in the bud. As we do see, the thumping snore, 180 damage does KO the Archeops, and let's see if it does.
That Archeops needs to hit the lost zone technically as well. That because of the lost city. That
yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Not terribly matter too much because there's no ordinary was for Jake's side, but just formalities,
yes,
as it were. And that is a lost zone as well there for Jake as well.
So it's got to be this, right? Primal Turbo, attach 2 to the active, attach 1 from the hand, then just hope this can carry you through.
Although I think, is that a boss in Paul's hand? I think it might be a full art boss, so he even has access to try and get that Archeops for the last prize. But I think, you're up. So Jake playing to outs now. There has been a few Mirage Gates gone for Paul. Actually, I can see at least 1 in the lost zone. I can see 1 in the discard pile. So, force the Rayquaza to have the Mirage Gate. And that's what I have to do in these scenarios where your game plan hasn't gone 100% is, you know, start trying to play to outs. You know, how many of this has my opponent used? How many of that has my opponent used? You know, what's the likelihood of them having this off this card hand? And that's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, you can't just give up, obviously, right?
Yeah,
you know,
no,
you have no reason to at this point. You're sort of committed in far enough. You may as well see the game through to the end.
Yes.
You tried your best to go for the win. You think your back's against the wall, but you have maybe a tiny chance to see it through, and so you're going to go for it. Tempest Dive's going to come in, and no stadium discard there. So and I think at this point, because your opponent's hit critical mass at the Lost Zone, it makes sense to keep the Lost City out, because then you stop any with the ordinary rod getting stuff back. That becomes no longer a possibility.
Well, no, you're 100% correct. Just, you know, force your opponent to just, you know, work off dwindling resources, as it were. So looking over to Paul's side here. Now this, okay, I see an ordinary rod, I see a Colrus. Interesting decision here for Paul. I don't think he's, and this will go, here we see again the Lost Box. When you have to Lost Zone so much of your deck, right? Resources are going to, it's like having a second discard pile, except you can't ever get that one back. So it's like,
and that deck is very thin as well.
No, it is.
Does he actually have enough to close out this game?
I'm not 100% sure if I'm perfect. Okay, right hand helps though. That
does help a lot, yeah.
Yeah, ordinary rods, you know.
Actually, that might seal it, because if you can right hand for an energy and grab a Mirage Gate, as long as you have enough energy in deck, that should get the job done. There's one more left. Actually, I think this will do it, because there's the Ordinary Rod too. You can, Ordinary Rod back in, attach from hand, Ordinary Rod back into energy, then Mirage Gate. Yeah, that will actually do it.
Yeah, wow. So right hand off the top, coming in the clutch, and that wraps it up. That is enough, I believe. 8, 60, 40, 320. Yep, that is enough on that Lugia. And Paul Stringer, Cavern counter Paul Stringer, taking it all home there in game one. What a game.
Yes, absolutely. So it's, that matchup played out we saw some of the factors that we talked about in like the keys to the matchup sort of playing out with sort of that back and forth there, and really the Rayquaza was the key, just the big damage at the end to be able to finish off the Lugia that could otherwise maybe tank a load of hits. Yeah,
that's why I think that Rayquaza is such a good addition to Last Box, because before the amazing rare Rayquaza addition, I knew if I was playing as Last Box, I've got time until Sable's coming around and they're just twiddling about, spit innocently. Okay, that's great, 110, rah, rah, rah. But now you have to respect it, turn 2 Mirage Gate Rayquaza attach, bang. Like, that is taking prizes and doing a hefty amount of damage. So it keeps you honest if you're playing against Lost Box. And as you saw there, doing its job perfectly. End of the game, just taking that big KO.
Yeah. And I think, with Jake as well, there was quite a few key turning points where he missed, right? We saw a big research for 5 energy, you're not going to be doing much of that. I think, because I think in terms of the actual game plan, I think Jake had it planned out pretty well. Yep. So it was more just a matter of, missing at the key moments, and in this game he needs to not do that if at all possible.
Yeah, I mean, that was so unfortunate. It'd be really intriguing to know, as a flashpoint, if we could go back to that turn and if the Amazing Surge did come out, how would that game have gone? But unfortunately, we cannot do that. So I'll be intrigued to see. I don't think Jake revealed anything crazy that would reveal the amazing rare Kyogre outside of maybe Wash Energy.
Yeah, I wonder if Paul might be thinking something because of that. But I mean, sometimes you end up. Wash Energy can mean other things as well, right? It doesn't necessarily just mean Kyogre, so it might be, cause a little niggle of a thought in Paul's mind, but not much else than that.
Yeah, because we know Wash Energy preventing effects of attacks onto your water Pokemon it's attached to is good. A lot of decks play it to stop, I guess Iskew decks, Iskew has it attached to stop Sableye, so it doesn't automatically mean, oh, that's an amazing rare Kyogre. It could mean a whole multitude of things.
Wait, hold on a second. Did we miss Jake's first turn? Because
no, he attached. I don't think we saw it, but I think he attached DT, has second Lugia and pass.
Oh, okay. So, but it wasn't a bad start. It just that he didn't do that much. No. Okay. We do see there.
We do see the Sableye getting Lost Zone turn 1.
Oh, okay.
That's the only copy of Sableye.
So no Sableye this game then, I guess.
No Sableye this game. We also see no Comfy in the action. Now we did see the Colrus, so we're going to get some cards in the Lost Zone, but wow, we're seeing a lot of almost no Pokemon, funnily enough, that get KO to an Amazing Surge so far.
Oh, yeah.
Really interesting wrinkle.
Yeah, just a bit. And but now play has passed on over to Jake. I do believe.
Intrigued to see, hopefully know what Jake is doing. He did have an active Lugia that had, there we go, DTE. Well, yeah, DTE. Now it has an Aurora, and Jake didn't look happy with that.
Well, I mean, he just said it was just read the wind. That's all he did.
Oh, was that his turn? That's his turn over?
Yeah, he did discard a Dark Elf, to be fair, and now it looks like Paul also had like a very lackluster turn, just passed again, and now
Oh, wow, that was a double pass. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it wasn't a pass. It was Jake read the wind, Paul pass from Paul, now back to Jake.
Wow, okay. All within one camera shot. All right, let's have a go. So now we do see the summoning star. We only see one Archeops in the discard pile, though. So at this point, if you're Jake, do you actually go for the one summoning star? I mean, it limits you for the rest of the game, though, right?
It does. I think it doesn't. I think Jake has another discard out in the hand because there was one discarded off to read the wind, and then he drew quite a few things off of that. I think there was another one in. Oh no, maybe not. Okay, I thought someone on a discard out in hand, but maybe not in that case. But there is a capture energy at least.
I was going to say, at least it can Tempest dive now, though. So there's no real urgency to get Archeops down at least this turn. So we see the capture energy for Orangu. A little bit of extra dig there with that Primate Wisdom.
Okay, it looks like he's going to go for just a. Oh no! Okay.
Oh,
there
was two.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, I'll tell a lie, guys. Tell a lie.
Oh wait, there was an Aurora played as well. That's why. So Aurora discarded one, and then Read the Wind discarded the other one.
Okay, so that's very effective there for Jake, and now he's off to the races double. And this could be, you could argue, the reverse of the last game where Jake really wasn't teeing off until late, and now Paul not really doing a great deal, and Jake is off to the races. So polar opposite game here for sure.
Yes, Primate Wisdom going ahead and swapping the top card of the deck with a card from the hand. He finds another Aurora energy. Probably would rather that be in deck, but can't do much about that, unfortunately. But yeah, it's quite funny to think about how this Lugia was manually powered up, right? Yeah. DT turn 1, Aurora turn 2, Capture turn 3. Who needs Primal Turbo, right?
Yeah, who needs Primal Turbo? Overrated. Maybe we see the Primal Turbo to the Archeops with the Capture just to give you a retreating out if necessary, you know.
Going to be very important to have. And after that, just a Tempest Dive, knocking out the Cramorant, and Jake will take the first prize of the game as Paul just sends up the Snorlax, which, granted, can do 180 damage here. You know, you can just tap drop 1 energy and do Thumping Snore, but that is all you can do. Paul is really stuck.
Nice dice, though. The Fusion Strike dice, pink and blue. Love that. But you are correct. And what is in Paul's hand? Wow. Yeah.
Not much of anything, basically.
Nothing at all. 108 damage. Nothing to sniff at, though, but it's going to get immediately sent to the discard pile.
Yeah, and if Paul doesn't find something, this game's going to be over in like the next few turns. Like, he needs to find a course of experiments or just like anything to actually draw some cards.
And let's see what Jake does here. I think I'm just thinking, could this be a turn to Kyogre? Because the Snorlax is going to stay asleep for the most part. Have to flip 2 heads, right? You can Amazing Surge twice, bang, bang, and just wipe out everything. Is that what we're going to see? No, we're going to see.
I say, yeah, you can, but I think you don't want to give it away, right? Because there are certain there are certain ways where you could do that play where it ends up being absolutely game winning. Whereas you could definitely win the game without going for that this time. So I think you just keep it on the down low for now, especially because it's prized anyway. So you can actually can't go for it.
Didn't really see that. I apologise. But yeah, even Stoutland, fantastic card in this matchup as well, right? Double dip Fangs. And like you said, if you get 4 powerfuls on that, then that double dip Fangs can add up super quick.
Yeah, I mean, 4 powerful colours on it is enough to actually KO a Cramorant. Is it enough for the Snorlax? No, it's not, because the Snorlax has 150, so I don't think we'll be seeing the double dip Fangs this turn.
How much health does Rayquaza have, though? 120 or 110?
120, but it doesn't matter. Like, so 4 powerful colours will still get there.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah, because that's 80 extra, right? And the base is 40. So
you are correct. So double dip Fangs could be terrifying here for Paul, right? Because Snorlax gets KO'd. Paul needs a miracle to get an attack off. What is that card?
Oh, that's it. It's a Comfey.
I mean, it got escape rope, got a net at least.
I mean, you take it, right? It's definitely what you. It's something that you're more happy to see than not. As obviously Paul's going to bring up that Comfey straight away and do the first flower selecting of this game.
Yeah. One interesting thing from Jake, I think he had the Lost City in hand, opted not to play it, thinking I might be helping.
Hey, there it is.
Double chorus. Yeah, opted not to play the Lost City, thinking I might actually be helping out Paul if I play this. So let's leave that in my hand.
Yeah, because of course then when you KO Pokemon and it gets into the Lost Zone, that would fuel Paul's Lost Zone shenanigans. But instead, Paul firing off the Chorus experiments and Lost Zoning a Water Energy and a Battle VIP pass. Still not really that much to work with. I mean, there's the Quick Ball there, so I guess you can dig for something with that, but it's really not great news, especially... Oh, is he about to Quick Ball away this Manaphy? No, I was going to say, no chance. That's getting put down straight away.
Yeah, that Manaphy is so important, especially not Lugia. I would say it's almost normal for Lugia to play Raikou now. You have to, but here goes Paul anyway. Let's see what he quick balls out here. We did have a skate rope and a scoop up net, so we are going to see, you know, some flyer selecting, some, you know, concealed cards as well. We are going to see some things here for Paul to get off to the races. Maybe a turn or two behind, but, you know, it's still possible. Anything can happen when you're playing a one prize only deck, simpleton deck as it were.
And of course, a quick ball grabbing the vital Radiant Greninja, so now Paul can use some of his energies to conceal cards and try and dig a bit further into the deck. Does find himself a switch card as well, so he can switch into something else to either just you know, attack with, or just something to as fodder, as it were. And yeah, looks like it is the Radiant Greninja that's going to get sent up.
Okay, so back over to Jake. Ongu inactive, not that bad because you can just Primal Turbo to retreat it. We see another Aurora in hand. Jake doing really well drawing into them.
yeah, he really is, which is not really what you want to do.
No. So here we go. See a Primal Turbo. I imagine it's probably just to get the Ongu out. That's with a DTU. Fantastic use of DTU for that, providing 2 energy while it's attached. Now normally, you know, reducing your attack damage by 20, but when you just retreat, it doesn't really matter.
No, of course, it's just 2 energy that pay a retreat cost. It's not going to matter at all. It makes sense that was why you put it off the escape route, because if it does get KO'd, you kind of don't mind losing it, you know, that much. You'd certainly rather lose that than an Archeops, but in any case, retreat happens, and Lugia actually coming back up again. It's just going to be another Tempest dive. Oh, ripping the Kyogre off the prizes. I feel that I don't think we're going to see it this game somehow.
I don't think this is the game. Well, I think you just try and win this game with Lugia and Stoutland. And, you know, when you're thinking about it, Jake's in the driver's seat. It might already be thinking about game 3. How do you wrap up a Lost Box game quickly? Traditionally hard to do. How about just wiping out, like, that concession?
Yeah, it is.
That is a concession. Oh, so we're going to a game 3. Yep. It is all to play for. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and I think this is very clever from Paul. I think recognizing that, you know, there's very little chance of him winning this game, and so you know, may as well just concede here. And although there isn't a huge amount of time left, there might be just enough to squeeze out a complete game for you in like the last 13 minutes.
No, 100%. I'm sure both players know ties aren't really ideal. You want to try and go for the wins if possible. I'm sure both players know that and thinking, you know what, let's just end this one early and try and get a nice, good amount of time for game 3. Very excited to see how this pans out.
Will we see the amazing surge? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, will we see that? I definitely want to see that amazing surge. It's so interesting, these amazing rares going from absolutely 0 play to now seeing multiple different ones in different decks. Like, we've seen so many on stream already, and you know what, I'm all for it, because I like colourful things, and the attacks are crazy.
Yeah, and it's nice, but although it is a bit sad that it's just before rotation.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we've kind of seen this like sudden like burst of play, and then they're going to be, you know, coming out of our standard format in a few months' time.
Yeah, which is a little bit sad, but I guess that's the nature of the beast, though, when they decided to print cards with such crazy attack costs. She's never really going to make it work, was you? Just took Mirage Gate and Primal Turbo, though, and you are away. So here we go, game 3. All to play for. Let's go.
Let's go. So Paul's got the setup, and so is Jake putting out the prizes. Radiant Greninja prize for Paul. That's pretty rough, actually. That's how you get your early game consistency.
He doesn't play a heavy board either.
No, he doesn't. So that
Let's
could
see
be
what Jake prizes then. So we see 1 Archeops. Keep an eye out for any more. Lost City, that's fine. Powerful.
That's okay, actually.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you don't mind them. I mean, it's nice maybe to have all 4 powerful, so you can try and do the double dip vangs on crazy things, but could argue could be a bit win more.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's not something you want to go for that early on, usually speaking. So Paul going first actually does have a very strong start, has the opening turn Battle VIP pass, so going to be able to once again set up his bench quite nicely as he does decide to go for a comfy, and well, I imagine would consider going for a Radiant Greninja, but that's not going to be an option here, unfortunately, with it being in the prizes, so going to have to go for something else.
Yeah, that Greninja normally a turn 1 target, and this you could argue could work for Jake, having so many comp phase in play. I'm just thinking about this. I just can't get this Kyogre off my mind. But, you know, could the stars align for it? Maybe. As we see those lovely ability markers there. Love to see them. So, over to Paul, though. What are you looking for? You've got a VIP, got comp phase into play, losing to Lost Zone, the Cram. Didn't quite get to see what he kept there. We've seen a skate rope. Go on, Jake. What a showman. What a showman.
I've done that so many times. Oh, escape rope. Yeah, do you want me to switch?
I think the judge like, what are you doing? I'm just having a little joke, Judge. I do that as well. We see a Raihan hit the lost zone.
Yeah, that was.
And Paul's actually prized a Raihan. That means he's got 1 copy to work with at this moment in time.
Ooh, okay.
So that could be something worth noting.
Yeah, it's a very solid, like, compared to like the previous game, is getting a decent amount of flower selectings in turn 1. So got to be pretty happy about that. But we'll finish on just like the 3 flower selectings. Back to Jake now, or rather over to Jake for the first time this game, as we are going to see whether he has the right setup to try and maybe go for this crazy play with the Kyogre. It does start off with a capture energy.
Yeah, you probably have to down a second Lugia because you have to respect the Snorlax. Snorlax with Choice Belt actually one-shots a Lugia. I mean, Paul doesn't actually play a copy of Choice Belt.
No, wouldn't it be 10 short?
Is it 10 short? I apologise. No, ignore me. Good for me, got Freya here. Shows how much Lost Fox or Snorlax I've been playing recently. Not a lot.
I knew my A-level maths would pay off one day.
That's how they should sell A-level maths students these days.
Yes.
If you play Pokemon, it'll help you out.
Absolutely. So Evolution Incense grabbing Archeops now. Got to imagine there's some kind of discard out in hand just to get rid of that straight away. And actually maybe thinking about benching the Stoutland straight away. It's quite interesting because we talked in the keys to the matchup about how usually you want to save it till the end, but Jake has kind of been opting to bench it early in these games, we've noticed.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I guess I'm not sure if Jake's opting to play research. Maybe this quick ball finds a Luminion and then maybe just research, in which case you want to just bench it anyway. But, I mean, there is still use for using it in the mid to late game. Well, it's a research.
Yes.
That's probably why I might as well get use of it. Hasn't found Oranguru yet, so can't preserve it, essentially. So, going to have to pop it into play. And that has got 210, though, so that can get KO'd by Snorlax. That
is true, yes. In fact, that's the main reason why a lot of these decks opted to play Snorlax in the first place as an easy answer to Stoutland.
Or we might even see the Cavern counter from Paul if the Stoutland comes down.
Oh, so that is true, yeah.
What is that hand? I see a Lugia V-Star. I see a Choice Belt.
There is. A Read the Wind could come in to discard that second Archeops. Seems pretty solid.
So I think that's what we're going to see here. And there's Read the Wind. A nice little bonus attack there. 1 energy attacks are never a bad thing, I believe. Always nice to have for these scenarios, especially when you play against a deck like Lost Box that tends not to have too much turn 2 pressure. You should be okay to just fill your hand.
Yeah, if you're doing it turn 1 going second, right, just discarding something that you want to discard anyway and drawing 3 cards, can't really, you've got to be feeling pretty happy about that because it's not as if you could evolve the Lugia that turn anyway.
You are 100% correct. So let's see. Going to have to keep that. Going to have to keep Mana Feed.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to be lost zoning that. So into the lost zone goes the Mirage Gate and Fighting Energy. And then going for a flower selecting, choice between a Grass Energy and something else, but choosing to put the Grass Energy in the lost zones. That's 6 now, just 1 more needed to make that Mirage Gate able to be played.
And looks like we see an Escape Rope. Ooh, this is an interesting decision.
Ooh, yeah, I think if it's got to be the other Lugia, right? Because anything else gets KO'd by Snorlax, and that's not something you want to leave yourself open to. And here it is, the critical mass, 7 in the lost zone after this last selecting. So now Mirage Gate is live and able to be used. Does Paul actually have one in his hand? I don't recall seeing one.
I don't think so.
No, I see there's a couple of ordinary rods, it looks like, but no Mirage Gate yet. Just a scoop up net on the active. Going to try and bring up another comfy, maybe 1 more flower selecting to try and find it here. Let's see if he gets it. Yeah, he does.
Wow, okay. Flower selecting on Paul's side there. And that Mirage Gate issues and finds the Mana Fee as well. Yeah, potentially closing down the door on that Kroger.
It's a very, very big find there from Paul, as now he's able to, as long as he has to, well, he would need a Choice Belt as well, which he actually doesn't play.
Yeah, doesn't play one,
so one shot was always out of the question regardless.
Yeah.
But actually, Paul, I guess, bearing that in mind, opting to just preserve it for now and just going to pass, not going to bother attacking with Snorlax, which I think makes sense as well.
There's no point really. And, just try and build up your board a little bit more. Again, you are the 1 prize deck. You don't need to do anything crazy. No need to rush ahead. Over to Jake, though, we are going to see the turn 2 summon star. I don't think, has he managed to do that in his best of 3? I think maybe game 2, actually. As he goes off to the race, already has 2 Archeops in the discard pile as well. So here we go. Double Lugia.
Oh, very nice. Which one is he going to summoning star with?
Yeah.
Because that definitely matters. Yeah, going to be using Summoning Star. Got the 2 Archeops in the discard pile earlier, so going to be able to bring them both out, which is going to be very good for him. And so now it's going to be a matter of deciding what to attack with. It's going to be the tricky thing.
So it's going to be the active. So is this DT from hand, I believe?
Yes, it is. So that's
we've still got the Primal Turbos as well.
So that's the hand attachment, it looks like.
So I wonder, you could swing with Lugia. You could even go for the double dip fangs here. Maybe Jake has figured out maybe Paul doesn't play choice belt even, you know. We haven't seen it from him yet, but then that's a risk because Rayquaza comes down Mirage Gate and that could deal with that way. So what would you attack with here, Freya? What would you attack with?
I mean, I guess attacking with the Lugia is fine because I don't think you're worried about being KO'd anytime soon. It's got to be either that or, I mean, if you can get the powerful colors out, there is a chance of just taking these 2 prizes with Stoutland. It does mean you're kind of leading with it, and that means that you might not necessarily get the maximum value out of it. But if it's out at this point anyway, then maybe you just go for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because Jake has to take 6 prizes the old-fashioned way here against Paul. You know, with 5 minutes left, I would be tempted to do double dip fangs and say, if you don't respond to this immediately, I'm taking 4 prizes in 2 turns. Like, you know, can you keep up with it? But it looks like Jake's opting to play it safer. Might be attack with an Aqua Return here,
which is also fine.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah.
Like, you know, you can just, it takes the 2 prizes off the board for you. You're still getting a KO quite easily, even with the DT attachment, because Compe has a low amount of HP. And we do actually see the Serena there as well, just getting rid of that Archeops that was just searched, drawing a few more cards. And yeah, that's what we're going to see. So retreat into the Luminion and Aqua Return for 100, KOing the Comfey, and Jake taking the first prize of the game.
Yeah, I wonder what you promote here if you're Jake. Is it going to be, a Lugia? Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I think that's fine, right? Because you're not worried about this being KO'd anytime soon. It's like the biggest, tankiest thing that you have, and I think it's completely okay to just bring this up, especially because, oh wait, was that? I was going to say because the Sableye is in the loss, but no, that was in the last game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the last game.
So Sableye is still in play this time. We do see the Chorus's experiment for Paul, very important to find that, of course, and one easy choice for Lost Zone in the form of that Battle VIP pass, but the Lightning Energy going in there as well.
And now we're at 10, so Lost Mine is live. If that was to come down, then you spread 120 damage, but looks like we just see the Thumping Snore, what an attack name, is staying asleep.
Yeah, one heads and then 1 tails. Of course, Thumping Snore, when you do it, the Snorlax sends itself to sleep, but you have to flip 2 heads instead of 1 to wake up after Thumping Snore. That's like the downside.
Is that the same for all Pokemon checkups, or will it be the same coming out of
Yeah,
well?
it is. That's just the way Thumping Snore's effect works.
But I guess that's their way of balancing it, because it is a 1 prize basic Pokemon. It does 180, 210 with a belt, strong. Good ability as well, actually, that inbuilt wash energy, if you think of it that way.
Yeah, like an ability that protects it from the effects of attacks. Yeah,
so
very much so. Unfazed Fat, I think it's called.
Unfazed the best kind of fat. You want your fat to be unfazed.
Apparently so. Okay, but here we go now. Okay, so Jake now loading up the powerful Colorless energies onto this Stoutland. Not going to be able to take a KO on the Snorlax with it. Of course, it has a bit too much HP, but maybe does Jake have a boss's orders in hand?
Maybe Jake just says, maybe the prize... Whoa, come on, Jake, tempting me. Maybe Jake wants to get down to an even amount of prize cards first before going and try and go Stoutland for game.
Possibly, although, do you know what he could be doing? Maybe thinking, I want to win the game quickly, you could... I was going to say you could go like Luminion boss's orders, bring up the Manaphy and KO that with the Stoutland, but I guess maybe not.
Does it seem that way? I don't think Paul's operating on a great amount of a great hand here, you know?
Also, did Jake take a prize just then? That was only his second to KO, wasn't it? Okay, so yeah.
That's what I said. Maybe Jake wants to even out the prize before he starts swinging with Stoutland. Try and go Stoutland.
Yes. Just
to finish it off. So, and let's see what Paul does. So I think quick ball. What did he quick ball? Oh, Sableye. Oh yeah, Sableye is live now.
Of course, yeah. So Lost Mine can come into play. There's no KOs coming from it this turn, I think, because what is it? Oh no, you
KO the Lugia.
You could KO the Lugia. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, but if you KO the Lugia, then that's Stoutland just comes back swinging. But then maybe Paul can counter with the Cavern counter. Make yourself immune, force a bot.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely need to like speed up a little bit here, because you see the clock is running dangerously low. It's not impossible for one of them to win, but I think they've got to get their skates on a little bit.
Yeah. Time isn't on the player's side. That's what happens when you have a long game one. You know, it can make winning 2 games for that reverse sweep a little bit harder to do, but we do get 3 extra turns on the back, so it could be possible.
I mean, especially because Lost Box as well, it's a kind of deck that either wins or loses slowly, right? It's a bit single prizes every single time. It's you're gonna have like a slower game inevitably just by the virtue of how Lost Box works.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be quite hard for Paul to win in these amount of turns, but I think it's very possible for Jake to win, I believe.
Yeah, because, Sableye comes in here, Lost Mine, Lugia gets KO'd, 20 damage somewhere else, I'm sure Paul will know the best place to put it. Stoutland comes in, takes 2 prizes. Jake can very easily take 2 prizes after that, as long as he just promotes and attacks the Stoutland very quickly, which I'm sure he will do. He'll probably be like, aware of the time factor. Those see another power colors.
Oh!
Wow!
Wow!
Okay.
What a turn! What a turn!
The 4th powerful colorless energy onto the Stoutland. Boss orders bringing up the Rayquaza, and now the double dip Fang's going to take the KO on the Rayquaza and take 2 prizes off it as well.
See, this forces a lot from Paul here. Paul now needs to find another nuke attacker, well, e.g. the Rayquaza, and then start Mirage Gate into it, which is asking a lot. You have to immediately do that as well, because this double dip Fangs will win next turn if left unanswered. The 4th powerful energy, ridiculous. An 80 extra damage. Oh my goodness gracious, man! You mentioned it as well. 4 powerfuls reaches into the Rayquaza.
And here's the thing as well, because now does Paul have a way to even KO this easily?
It has to be a Rayquaza at this point.
Another one,
that's
right?
The only way. He doesn't play choice belts. He can't use Snorlax. I believe there is an ordinary rod in Paul's hand actually. To be honest, but you need to what you need 860 240. So you need to get 3 energy. You need to manually attach and Mirage Gate and ordinary rod and find it again.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. But here's the thing, right? If the Stoutland survives, I think Jake
It's
basically wins, right?
Yeah, it's game
exactly.
over. Yeah.
So it's all going to come down to this. Can Paul find the answer to take the return knockout in the Stoutland or not? And I think time has now been called. We see the timer has just reached 0, so Jake is now turned 0 time. Paul's going to have 2 turns to be able to try and, well, really only 1 turn to KO the Stoutland, because if he doesn't KO it now, the game is as good as over.
You could also argue that Paul using the Terrakion could be better, because that then forces another boss.
Yes,
that's true. It makes
true.
itself immune. That could also be the way.
But I mean, if he finds Terrakion, hit the KO anyway, right? It's
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But then, so it just...
But I think if Jake's Stoutland gets KO'd, there's no way for him to win. You can't take 2 prizes otherwise, because the Manaphy's out, so Kyogre's not an option, unfortunately.
No, you are 100% correct. So failed to search on the quick ball, so I don't know if it is there.
No, he lost owned it earlier, didn't he? No, he didn't. There's 2 fighting energy.
Yeah, 2 fighting energy. I don't think I saw it in deck. Opted not to go for it. Here we see a flower selecting. Recycler and a Chorus, I believe that was. Both of which could be important for making this combo work.
Oh, the Terrakion's in hand.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
right there at the end.
So we just need an attach and a Mirage Gate, and then we could see the cavern counter come down, which I think seals it up for...
Wait, hold on a second. No, he can't do it. There's 2 fighting energies in the lost zone. He only plays 3.
Is it? It attacks for 2 fightings. You are correct. Yeah. So it is going to have to be recycled for a Rayquaza. It's got to be.
Yeah, there's
it has to
option.
be.
Yeah, there's no other way of going about it.
Well,
so
there's no ordinary rod in that hand.
No.
Wow, this is a nail biter here, folks. This could go either way. Can the Stoutland survive the turn? Oh my goodness. The edge of our seats here, you can't see us right now, but really, there's the ordinary rod though.
Wait, I think I see all the pieces in hand.
Yeah? Was there a quick ball in hand as well? Or?
No, there's a Rayquaza in hand.
There's a Rayquaza in hand, okay. Oh, there's a Mirage Gate. Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this is going to be a tie then, yeah, because Mirage Gate and then 5 cards left in deck, goodness. Now, because the 3 energy is enough, right? Because you need to do
240.
Yeah, so that will KO to Stoutland, and I think this means that it's going to be a tie.
Yeah.
Just manual touch of grass from hand, retreat the Comfey, bring out the Rayquaza, and 240 damage will KO to Stoutland. Does Jake have a way of taking 2 prizes this turn? I don't think that he does somehow.
So it would have been interesting if Jake decided to boss KO the Manaphy that turn.
Yeah,
that would have opened up the door to a potential Kyogre. But is there a way he can take 2 prizes? Because this is turn 3 now, right?
No, it's turn 2.
This is turn 2. Oh, so Paul's got 1 more turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Can Jake take 2 prizes? I don't think Jake can take 2 prizes.
He could have done if the Manaphy wasn't out, because then Kyogre comes in and does its thing. But unfortunately, the Manaphy does prevent that from really happening. As now he does go. Oh, he goes for a Luminion V.
What are we thinking here, Jake? What are we trying to manufacture?
I think he's just trying to prevent Paul from taking the win, right? I think, so just going for the Marnie to limit Paul's hand resources as much as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I guess Jake can't technically win, but he can still lose.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Although Paul's deck is very small, we saw. It was only like a, 4 or 5 card deck? So
yeah, it's not much.
So here we go on the Marnie.
Because, yeah, actually, there is a possibility for Paul to recover Rayquaza and then, you know, just actually KO 2-Prizer and win. So actually now Paul's the one who has the potential to win here. Oh, well, no, maybe not with that Lost City. Oh, okay.
Why, is there one Rayquaza in the...
There's, no. Oh, no, there's still one in this card, isn't there?
Yeah, one in this card as well. But
yeah,
again, it's just finding wrinkles, especially if you potentially minor your opponent as well. Asking a lot of questions, aren't you, at that point?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're right. Jake's just trying to make sure, or try and make it harder for Paul to win in this scenario. Let's see what happens. There is Damani. All right, big turn here then. Does Damani stick for Paul? Marnie being used for that disruptive element there, reducing Paul's hand size, giving him 4 to start the turn, 5 of a top deck. I wonder what Jake gets here. I don't think there's a great deal Jake's really looking for here in this scenario.
Wait,
right?
hold on. So Paul has the boss's orders in hand now. Also drew a couple of scoop-up nets. Can maybe do like a bunch of flower selectings and actually find everything that he needs again.
Yeah, maybe.
Because...
But I mean... It looks like Jake's going to set up for an Aqua return, right? So he might even need to play the boss. Because I'm assuming... Oh, no, Jake probably puts a 1-Prizer here. No, you are correct.
Yeah.
So, right, here we go. Big turn here. Promotes the Charizard. Wow, this is going to be interesting. Does have the boss. I mean, it said Paul's deck's very small. Wow, that's a good start. Mirage Gate.
Yeah. So he needs to find Ordinary Rod, and then Rayquaza, and then, like...
Oh, wait, hold on. He needs to get quite a few engines here, right?
Yeah, he needs 4.
6, 240, yeah, 4. So it needs to be 2 Mirage Gates. Is that possible?
Oh, actually, no.
I don't think it is.
No, he might only have 1 left. I think Paul's... so Paul's counting, but I'm not sure how relevant it is to look at the opponent's discard at this point, given that, you know, this is the last turn of the game. So no matter what happens at this point, like, there's nothing else that your opponent can do. It's kind of either you hit this or you don't.
Yeah, I assume this is definitely the last turn, right? I mean,
yeah, well, unless
it must be. Yeah, unless we've,
unless the timer's slightly wrong. But
here we see a chorus. So we're going to see the whole deck here. Quick Ball could start. Ordinary Rods.
Yes. Definitely gonna take those. Yeah, definitely don't need to Greninja at this point, or the Quick Ball. Just get rid of both of those. And I think
they're just saying,
resignation that they can't do it. So there it is, and that will be the tie after a very, very close game 3.
Yeah, that was super entertaining. That was a to-and-fro affair. You know, after game 1, we saw Jake didn't really get set up, but then game 2 he was barnstorming. In game 3, a super close affair again, but Paul managing to eke it out.
Yeah, goodness me. Well, it's when it comes to like games like that, it almost feels like a shame for there not to be a winner, right? You think after all that, someone deserves to go away with 3 points, but that is how Pokemon goes sometimes. Even with the early concessions, not quite enough time to finish that one out. Just maybe like a couple more turns, and it would have been enough.
I believe so, yeah. A couple more turns would have been enough to get a winner there. I think that's the nature when you do play Lost Box. You probably do say to yourself, right, there are going to be rounds there which maybe I could have won, but because of just the nature of my deck and the pace it plays, you are going to tie some, and that's what we saw there.
Yeah, and it's happened to so many players over the course of the years, right? It's one of those things that, which is why time management has become such a crucial skill for the really, really top players. But even the best sometimes can just fall a little bit short, especially if you're playing a deck like Lost Box, like we already mentioned. It takes some time to execute a strategy, whether it wins or loses. So you need to be extra mindful of that when you're playing a deck like that, especially. Yeah,
100%. I'm sure Paul would have been, practiced a lot, and he would have been very good at knowing what he wants to do. But just the nature of it, so many decisions: flower selecting, Chorus, Ordinary Rod, Mirage Gate. There's a lot of decisions to be made there, and unfortunately, just caught with an over tie.
Yeah, and that's the way it is. So there will be no winners interview this time, but I do believe we have another interview lined up with someone some of you I think will be more than familiar with at home. I do believe it is our current world champion.
Our current world champion just played Bilbao himself, Andre Escobar. We should be hearing from him next.
So I think they're not quite ready to